Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is the Captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Final Fantasy galore continues as we get more spoilers and some pretty decent ones. Um, and yeah, just a sight to behold, pleasure to the eyes. So, before we get started, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comments down below, feed that YouTube algorithm, yada, yada, yada. Links in the description to support the channel. You can do the eBay TCG player thing, buy a couple cards, support the channel, especially from all the box opening series when we have them. Also, you can be a YouTube member that helps support the channel. Plus, it'll get you some sweet deals on some sealed product if you like. But more importantly, just watch. And to do that, you probably should subscribe. Just saying. And for all you anime nuts out there, Otaku Shop, link in the description, coupon code Capnclyde. Get you 10% off and get you some sweet anime. Yes, those are lamps on the cover. Some very thirsty lamps. But anyway, I did an unboxing for some of this. Go check them out. They're pretty sweet. And check out the video for the unboxing. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Maybe, sort of. Anyway, moving on. Let's get into this Final Fantasy stuff. So, what we got here is, that's right, tap lands. So, we get these tap lands every now and then, or almost every set. They're normally the same name. Not that it really matters because, I mean, these are tap lands. So I don't think Wizards cares if you just run, 50 different kinds of a green-black land that comes into play tapped every time. I mean, you do you. Who knows? Maybe that's broken. But anyway, so the cool thing about this is these tap lands are towns. And as we've seen in other videos, if you paid attention, there are cards that are synergistic with towns. So these will be relevant, much like gates were relevant during the whole Ravnica series. So here's some pictures. They're all pretty cool. I mean, they're your basic 2-color tap lands. They're all pretty sweet. I do like this one a lot for white-blue, and this blue-black one's kind of cool. So here's the rest of them. Now with all that said and done, we're past the tap lands, be what you will. We do have a card in here that I wanted to go ahead and just might as well capture it together. We have the Queerkern Merchant, who knows? Blue and 2 for this 1/4 Beast Citizen, interesting type. It's a 1/4, which is actually pretty good for a common at 3. For 1 and tapping, draw a card, then discard. Ooh, this is a merfolk looter with some back. Lots of back. Big booty. Cake. Tons of cake. For 7 and tapping, you can sacrifice this creature to draw 3 cards. The ability costs 1 less to activate for each town you control, which is also why I left him here in the town slot. If you have 3 or 4 towns out, if for 3 mana, draw 3 cards by tapping and sacking this creature. In the meantime, for 1 mana, you can just Merfolk Loot, which is just bananas any way you slice it. Plus, it's a 1/4. This thing is going to be hard to kill. Block all day long. All day long. Great for limited. It probably won't see the love and standard that it probably should, but I think it has some commander chops, in my honest opinion. Anyway, moving on. Next we have, that's right, the GF Ifrit, which is the Ifrit of Ifrits. This bad boy as a common is House. Red and 2 for a 3/2 Saga Demon. That matters because demons are huntable in some cards. Also, it's a 3/2. It is a common. However, this is a saga with 4 levels to it, or 4 sagas to it. The first one, discard a card if you do draw. Second one, discard a card if you do draw. So you're already filtering through lands and stuff out of your deck. Makes this great in a red deck. Saga 3 and 4, an extra red. You get the mana ramp. And it's after your draw step, so like you get to use it in your main phase. Whew, boy. This seems really good for standard, amazing for limited, and I think this is definitely going to be a commander card that we're going to see some play inside any deck that has red in it. It just does too much. I mean, it's a 3/2 for 3. It lets you filter through your deck. It does a little mana ramp. It does a little bit of everything. Plus, it's a 3/2. Like, it can even block if you have to, and those kind of situations where you're like, the hell with that creature, I don't care if my shit dies. So, yeah. Next, we have Garnet, Princess of Alexandria. Very interesting. A white and green for a 2/2 uncommon human noble cleric with lifelink. So, already off to a good start. Whenever it attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed. Now, let's just talk about that for a second. Luckily, this is legendary, so you can only have one in play at a time. This is a great way to keep your sagas around while they keep ticking up and doing their thing while they're also creatures. This thing seems dumb powerful. And there may now be a chance in Commander to make a saga deck with something like this as a commander. I mean, it's even 2 mana. Like, it's going to be easy to get out. You reset your sagas constantly and just abuse them as they tick up over and over again. This just seems really damn sweet. Yeah, I got high hopes. Just saying. Anyway, next we have another uncommon. We have Omega, the Heartless, a blue, green, and 5 robot. Legendary artifact. That's an 8/8. Whew. Okay. 7 mana 8/8. Not bad. When this enters, for each opponent, tap a non-land permanent that player controls. Put X stun counters on those permanents, and you gain X life, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. So in Commander, what I'm hearing is turn 7, lay Omega. Probably have about 4 to 5 non-basics. Put 4 to 5 stun counters on a target non-land permanent my opponent controls for each opponent, and then gain life. And then it's an 8/8. Like, this just seems like a decent include in some blue-green decks for some weird shenanigans. I'm just going to put that out there. I mean, worst case scenario, I mean, you have blue, you got blue and green, like you can discard it to draw a card or some silly shit. This just seems pretty sweet. Next, we have Clash of the Econs. So 1 green sorcery, you get to choose 1 or more, so you don't have to choose just 1. You can choose as much as you want. Target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. Remove a lore counter from target saga you control. It says here, removing lore counters don't cause abilities to trigger, but when they tick back up, they will. Let's point that out. Or put a lore counter on target saga you control. Now, what I want you to remember about this also, not only is this a great fight spell, but because of the way it's ordered and there's periods, you can go, all right, this creature fights that. I'm going to remove a lore counter from this saga. Nothing happens. It just goes down. And then you can immediately put a lore counter back on, causing it to trigger. Because when you add a counter, it will trigger. Not when you remove them, though. So, at 1 green, this whole white-green saga deck might be coming a reality, because this thing's nice. Now, we have old Locke, Cole, that is. I miss Locke. I haven't seen him in so long. I forgot about him until I seen this. Black, blue, and 1 for a 2/3. Death-touching lifelinker. Wow, is this good. Whenever Locke deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card, then discard a card. Daddy. This legendary creature is good enough to see standard play. At 3 mana, it's going to be a little rough, but the fact that it has Death Touch and Lifelink means you can kill something and gain life, which gives it a little bit of everything in the whole deal combat damage to a player, draw, discard, go through your deck might also be good. It's also a rogue and works well in some rogue synergies that we might see in Commander. So I got high hopes for old Locky boy. I hope he gets some love. I like Locke. All right, we have Slash of Light. White and 1 instant. It deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of equipment you control to target creature. We've had this before. It's a common. It's decent removal. It lets you use creatures as a base. If you happen to have equipment out and you're running an equipment deck, it also becomes a very, very much better, because it's good English. It becomes a great removal spell for dealing damage. Also, for those people want to have some shenanigans, you can have a horde of tokens and a Boros, whatever he is, that when you deal damage to him, it deals that much damage to the opponent. You know, and have that other red spell out that doubles damage when it hits. You can slash a light your Boros Reckoner. That's what his name was. Which will then be doubled, and then the Boros Reckoner will double it again to kill your opponent. You know, just old-fashioned shenanigans. Anyhow, still a good removal spell. We have Snow Violers, white and 2 for a Human Rebel Monk. A star 3 with Vigilance. His power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Keldon Warlord, anybody? I mean, he's always 3 on the butt, so he's going to be easy to kill, but he does have Vigilance and Trade, making him also a good blocker and attacker. So, at worst, he's a 1-3. On average, he's probably going to be a 3-3 for 3 with Vigilance. Not the worst thing I've seen. So, yeah, great for limited. May have a little action in Commander, but it might be as far as he goes. Next, we have good old Ether. I was wondering if he's going to see something like this. So for blue and 3, you get this artifact. It says tap. Exile the artifact. You get to add a blue. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. I love the little text on the bottom. Restores 20 MP. I think this is going to be very popular in Commander just for the fact that it's 4 mana up front. But when you tap it, you can copy a spell. Especially in blue, you can copy Time Walks and stuff, which is just absurd anyway. But it gives you that 1 blue back later. Like, this just seems really cool for a Commander setup, but probably not anything past that. So, next we have the Crystal Fragments. It's an artifact equipment for 1 white. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. It also equips for 1, which makes this very playable in limited, standard, even some older formats. Just because a 1 mana +1/+1 equips for 1 that stays around is fine. But I think the real juice on this one is the 2 white and 5. You get to exile this equipment, then return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. So not only does it plump your creatures, but if you do get to 7 mana, it's a game changer. Because when you flip it over, you get Summon Alexandria, a 4/3 flyer that on Saga 1 prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn. Saga 2, the same thing, and on Saga 3, tap all creatures your opponents control, as you then proceed to punch them in face. Now, this does not come back to play after the 3rd Saga. It does destroy itself, but it can be a game winner, especially when the ground's all locked up. Maybe this is something that White Winnie's been looking for. 7 mana is awful expensive, though. I don't know. All right, we have the good old Magitech Armor. Man, just bringing back the nostalgia. All the things I wanted to see and more have and is arriving in this set. So 1 white and 3 for a 4/4 vehicle. When this vehicle enters, you get to create a 1/1 colorless hero. And wouldn't you know it, this thing crews for 1. This is fine. This might even be good enough for standard in some builds. Just because it makes a 1/1 and you can crew this as a 4/4. Like, there could be some shenanigans there with a vehicle or artifact kind of thing going on. It could be great and limited. But honestly, past that, it probably won't see much action only because it honestly doesn't do enough. But in limited, it probably does plenty. Probably way more than plenty. But anyway. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up, and girls, if you're out there, with our 1 reskin spoiler of the video. It's the Hero of Light from Final Fantasy 1, who is Adeline, the Resplendent Cathar. That's right, the 2 white and 1 for the Star 4 Vigilance Legendary Human Knight that has power and toughness equal to the creatures you control, so it's always a 1/4 at least. Whenever you attack, you get to put a 1/1 human creature token into play attacking, making this thing much, much larger. Huge. This card is going to be very popular because this sees a lot of play in Commander. I don't think it sees much play outside of that. I mean, maybe in a couple fringe decks and one of the older formats. But this is very popular in Commander and white decks. So this will actually probably hold a little bit of value. I mean, not a whole lot, but I mean, just look at him. He's pretty. He's so pretty. Anyway, shout out to my boy Sawyer for being a YouTube subscriber. I appreciate it, man. So until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. Man, all these reskins make me want to play all these cards I've never played. I don't normally play with. This is just crazy.